Nice. Cheers. Oh, mugs, yes, water from the Nile, do you remember? Well, it put me in mind as to what other mugs there are. There's a lot of mugs out there. Are you one? I am. I'm a collection of mugs. I've got about 50, I'm guessing, because I've got at least 25 here and there's more to come. So let's see what extraordinary ideas I've come across in the way of mugs. One of them is a cup, I think, or a few are almost called cups, but mostly mugs. And water from the Nile, of course, is probably the most recent of the lot. So I think historically the very first one I got was this one here. 1976 it was. You only asked for half a cup of tea. Well, here it is. Look, half a cup of tea. Lovely idea, isn't it? It came from somewhere like Carnaby Street in the late 60s or early 70s, I think it was. And eventually, about 35 years later, I came across a spoon that should go with it. You know, people say, oh, a little bit of sugar, please. Yes, only half a teaspoon. Half a teaspoon, yes, I can provide that. A spoon? Well, half a spoon. Half a teaspoon, yes. So finally I've matched and found a way of marrying those two pieces up 35 years apart. A half a teaspoon for half a cup of tea. What a lovely idea. Here's a very strange, well, there's two very strange handled ones. It's called a Chinese mug, this, and looks quite normal, except something wrong about the handle, isn't it? Yes, the handle's been turned the wrong way, isn't it? It's extraordinary how customer unfriendly this is. To actually hold that is quite difficult. I want to hold it like that, and of course it's very hard on the arm to do that, but that's where you put your finger through. Hold it like that is more like holding a sort of ledge, or I'd rather forget about it and just hold the cup like that. So it creates awkwardness, which is quite amusing if you're trying to get people to be very polite when they're having a cup of tea. But it's a very interesting idea. It's so simple, and yet it causes considerable difficulties in actually handling it. Ah, well, there we are. And then there's ones here which, well, it's a Japanese one actually. You've got, we'll say, some lemon tea with a lemon floating in it, and you finished it, and when you finally finished it, you do the last bit, oh, yes, of course. That's what you've just been drinking. That's what's on the base. Recessed nicely into the base, a piece of lemon, it's all made out of porcelain, of course, and it's floating in a cup of tea. That's what you've just been drinking. What a lovely idea. A little reminder of what you've just had. So that's a good one. There's one here which is now very politically incorrect. Irish mug, oh no, we can't have that anymore. But it's got something extraordinary because it is a mug, but where's the handle? Well, look inside. Extraordinary idea. That is just so silly because if it's a hot mug, and you put your fingers in, you'll scald the fingers. If it's a cold drink and you've got mucky hand, you put it in and you contaminate the drink. In either case, it's a bit daft. So I can't use something politically incorrect like Irish. I've got to think of something else. Any ideas? I'd like to see something like the potter's error on it, or my favourite was the mug's mug, or whatever. Interestingly enough, when I was in Amsterdam a few years ago, I found a version of the same one, but my Dutch friend had it engraved the Belgian mug, because they and the Belgians don't sometimes, well, they like to criticise each other. But it probably works both ways as well. I'm sure the Irish regard us as very stupid sometimes, so can't have Irish, but I'd love to see something, if you can think of a good idea, something like the mug's mug, or off duty, or whoops, or something to go with a mug that's got the handle on the inside. Nice concept though. This is a very, very clever mug which a friend of mine found in Paris. It's like a stack of teacups, but actually it's not a true stack. They're all put together to form a single deep cup. What a lovely concept it is. So you hold it by the bottom like that and just drink it as an ordinary cup of tea or coffee, and it looks like a stack. Very clever design. It's slightly tilted as well, which is all superb, I think. There's one here which goes with a pair, because I think I've bought them several years apart, in fact. This one is the obvious one because it says Biscuit Pocket. Well, that's what it is. There's a place in it there for your biscuits where you can go crunch, crunch, crunch and put it in there. This one has it in the base. So you've got a place there for two biscuits to go in the base. It's a bit better than that because it's a chocolate biscuit. We get a bit too slightly sticky if it had hot tea in there, hot coffee. So a biscuit kept separate because otherwise they get soft and squishy too quickly. You have to dip them in and eat them immediately. And they're both provided with pockets for you to be able to enjoy a biscuit with your tea. Here's one that a friend of mine found quite recently, I think. It's a mug, except it's not a mug, it's also a cup. That's clever, isn't it? It's just the way that it's been constructed. So it's got roundness one side like a cup, and a cylindrical shape of a mug on the other side. It looks like a mug, and to me it looks like a cup because it's all rounded. Nice concept, that. It's a lovely ambiguous object. Very clever. Quite a number of very simple ones, like this one from the Metropolitan Police in England. It's just a job, and they say all the news and the best mug shots in the Met. Mug shots is what they use for trying to identify people they want to interview or something. So it's a nice one, that. But there are a lot of these, and I love a little one-line joke like that. It helps to bring it alive. And there's another one-line joke here when the Rubik's Cube first came out. Someone had to make a Rubik's Cube with a mug, and they called it "It's a Mug's Game." Well, it is if you can't solve it, and I couldn't solve it, not without the instructions. I thought of combining that concept with this one here, because this one no longer works, but what it was originally was what they call thermochromic ink. That was a Cheshire cat, which appeared quite a bright colour. I think it was a bright green colour or brown colour. And this smile is non-chromic ink. When you put hot water in there, or hot tea or hot coffee, the heat got to it, and the colour of the Cheshire cat just disappeared and became like this, almost transparent, and just a smile remained. What a lovely concept it is. I have going to be showing some more recent ones next thing on cups and mugs where it still works, but it lasts about 20 years, thermochromic ink, and then it sort of fades and it doesn't go through its cycle. It just occurred to me that it could do that thermochromic ink on this one here if they managed to get it done, and so when you put the tea in it, it would start looking all jumbled up like that, and instantly it would change into a solved cube, and that's because it's your cup of tea and you're just about to drink it. So you could combine those two ideas together. Thermochromic ink, quite a common thing. Here's a lovely one produced at the time of Prince Charles and Princess Diana's wedding, way back in the 80s, and it's got Charles's ear. The press were a little bit rude about his ears sticking out when he's a small child, I think it is. So you hold him by the ear, and that's our Prince Charles in his own mug. Nice one. This one I'm not sure what to make of it really. It's just got a place for your fingers, so I can put my fingers in there like that, I suppose, and I do hold it like that. I've got another 3 fingers which haven't got anything to hold on, but never mind. But it's just something that I found, and I'm a little bit baffled as to how you can justify it or rationalise it or say what's the idea of it. Just 1 finger or 2 fingers, or I don't know. I had a go at myself for designing a cup when I was a part of a business club where one of the ladies, part of our business team, was actually a potter. She made things, so we were invited to have a meeting in her studio. So here I made a cup, and as much as I could, before she actually fired it, I just wrote on it with a pen when it was just still bare material. And then I wrote things like, this is a left-handed coffee cup, and this is a right-handed, and it's tea time novelties, and inside were little series of numbers which were puzzles and other things. And then she put it in the kiln, fired it, and it's now a usable cup of tea. But it was a lot of fun actually putting some of my one-line paper jokes into a cup, so it's got a permanent base to it. A nice one, that. And there's an extraordinary one over here which I've got to show. This occurred also in 1976. This is called a puzzle mug, which my friend James Dalgetti with Pentacle produced at the time. There's something strange about this, but I need to demonstrate it. I need to, I've got water in this one, incidentally. I need to put it into a bowl. This is a bowl we found in the office. Now, the idea is to try and drink this without spinning it. And that's difficult to do because there's all those holes there. And if I start tilting it to drink, what happens? It comes out of the holes. I can't drink it. But there are hidden holes and hidden passages. There's a hole here, a little square one, connected by a tube inside to another hole here, connected by the same passage to a hole in here, connected by a tube to here, and there's a hidden hole underneath which you've got to put your finger there. To make this work, you've got to seal 3 of the holes, and you've got to then drink or suck through the 4th hole. So a finger goes here to block that hole off, a finger goes here to block that hole off, a finger here. And with a bit of luck, if I suck hard on this one here, you'll get excuse me spitting, but I wanted to show that I was actually getting water out of this. So by sucking here, with those blocked off, that actually works instead of putting a straw in, which would be easier to do, I suppose. But you certainly can't do that because that does a bit of that. Interesting, isn't it? A puzzle mug. There's another one here which is a real puzzle. Oh my goodness. This is German humour, which is quite humorous, very heavy humour. It's got some solid steel from there downwards, just solid steel, so it's very, very heavy. You see, it only goes a certain way in, not to the bottom. So to lift it up, I need both hands. To actually have a drink inside, I had to put my hand over there, and I just about needed both hands, right? And so I could just about manage it. And when I thanked my friend for it and asked him what was the little hole on the bottom for, he said, well, if you make it really difficult, that's a screw thread incidentally, you can put it on a small table and have a bolt coming through the middle of the table and attach that to the bolt, and then if you're really strong, but really strong, you lift up that with the total table is going as well, and then lift it up and drink the contents. My goodness. I have to say, out of all my cups, and I've got about mugs, I've got about 50 of them, this is the only one I use every single day, and I see every single day, because I'm using it as a doorstop. Very, very helpful. It's very heavy and very firm. It stops my kitchen door banging when a breeze goes through, so that's what it's been used for. But it was originally a very, very heavy mug as a joke. They do make mugs of different materials. They're mostly made of china and porcelain, but here's one example of what is made of wood, which is quite nice. And it's once it's been cleaned, it's quite hygienic. You can dry it because it's been properly lavended. Here's a very strange one, also from Germany. Yes, it's made of plastic, a soft plastic, but quite a tough one. So when you put a drink in that, it will wobble about a bit, but it'll hold it. It won't collapse. The idea, I think, is to fold it up like that, put it in your pockets, and then you go to the local pub or whatever is for the picnic, and enjoy it. But it's one of these soft but pliable plastic mug things. And of course, they make mugs of tin as well. This one here has got a nice ringing sound. In this case, it's been produced by one of the museums to record Edward Lear with one of his little poems. Nice one. But a tin mug is a very nice idea, that. The last one to show is probably the most extraordinary of the lot. It's made in Taiwan, and this is way back in time, probably the early mid-70s, I think. And the idea is if you've got about 8 people coming to tea, this is what you do. You put some tea in here with milk and sugar, whatever they want, and you put the next one on top and do the same thing. And the next one on top of that, and some more tea in there, and there we've got a complete figure. Also, when I turn it round, you'll see that the back of the lady it's even got her pinafore. It's got a little ribbon here. So providing it's been balanced on the tray very well, that should stay upright and be 4 cups of tea. And he's got to have a husband, isn't she, a man? So here we go, tea in there, or coffee, or milk, or orange or something. And you build up his stack as well. And then you've got one of each. And that makes 8 cups of tea. Wow. Wonderful. So that's my first 25 strange, interesting mugs and cups. More to come.